So the songwriting process, how does it work? What happens? What goes on? If you're a songwriter, you know, but if you want to become a songwriter, usually, you know, people have an ear for it first. But if you don't, then there's some stuff you can do. There's some tricks involved that can help you have a song. First thing you want to keep in mind is, do you want your song to be lyrical? Do you want it to have lyrics, or do you want it to be instrumental? Because that will change the way the structure of the song will be. It can. It doesn't have to. Basically, the song is open up to whatever you want it to be. You know, the greatest artists were people who pioneered the way that new songs were going to sound, and the way that new chords were going to sound, and new chord progressions, and all that sort of thing. But basically, the songwriting process starts with just playing around. You know, you find a chord that you want to stick with first. Like, say if I want to stick with this chord first. It's a minor, okay? It's a minor chord. It's a minor triad, actually. Okay, so if I wanted to start with that chord, okay, cool. Where do I go from there? Well, the sad thing is, I get stuck. From my chord progressions usually go down. They usually just start one place and just go down, because I'm just a descending kind of chord progression person, apparently. But your chord progression can go up, and both of those different ways of doing chord progression will affect it. Like, going down will make it, you know, obviously the sound that it gives is sad. But if you go up, it's more of a happy sound. If I want to make something like that, I'm sure that's already been done already, but whatever, you know, who cares? It's your song, so if it's already been done, what you can do is just give it a different rhythm. So if I'm starting out with this chord, okay, and I already know all my triads on piano. And so it's real easy to write a song if you know all your triads on piano. Just learn your scales. Like C, you can start with C major. Just learn your major and minor scales, and you'll basically know how to play basic piano. Because if you know your scales, then you know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you know the root. The root is the 1 and the 3rd and the 5th, and that's what makes a triad. All right, and that's a major scale triad. That'd be a minor triad. Okay, there's a lot of different ones, but if we start with that and just play around, this is your root note. Okay, the bottom note of the chord is the root note. So we want to go to the next note that we want to be the root note, because that's going to be the next chord basically. So if we go, that would sound cool, all right? So if we put the triad together, go back to that. We already have a chord progression. You know, you just play around with it till you get it to sound how you want it to sound. And that would be what we call harmony. The harmony is what the chords are. The melody is when the chords are broken up. Okay, so the melody is made up of usually what the scale is, the key is, and what the chords are. Right now, I'm playing in, let's see, F sharp minor. Okay, because that's F, so that's F sharp, and that's an F sharp minor triad. So the F sharp, we would play the F sharp minor scale. And you just keep going up with that. And you can keep going down if you want. But, so that's my chord progression. It goes F sharp minor to D major, back to F sharp minor, to, that would be C sharp minor. Okay? And if you want to get deeper into it, you could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. So that I just went up the scale, right? So I went up 6 degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I went up to the 6th degree of the scale, and see the root is my first of the scale, so we call it the first, and then we're going to the major 6th after that. Okay, then back to the root. So this would be a 1, major 6th, back to 1, and then we got this. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be a minor 5th. So it's 1 major 6th, 1 minor 5th. Okay? And that's just, you know, theory stuff if you want to know what your actual chord progression is. And your chord progression will change throughout the song. But we're just going to do a basic chord progression because I'm showing you how the song process works. So we played around and we found the chord progression and the pattern that we like. Okay? So what do we do with that? Well, we have to put a rhythm with it. I was already putting a rhythm with it, basically, just out of my butt. You know, I just came up with that rhythm. It was basically, you know, those would be like whole notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's like a little turnaround, you know, at the end of your chord progression. Now that's not an advanced chord progression at all, but you know, I've been doing chord progressions for a while, so you know it's not going to be C, G, A minor, back to C. You know, it's not going to be that stuff because that stuff's boring to me. I'm past that stuff. But anyways, so that's our chord progression. So we've got our chord progression. And by the way, you don't have to start out with a chord progression. It's usually what I do because the chord progression just sets the mood for the song. It sets, you know, the tone, the emotion, all that. Right now we got like a. It's what I like to call like an epic kind of time. I love writing epic sounding music. You know, people say it sounds sad, but to me it just sounds epic, man. You know? You could either go either way. You could say it sounds sad or you could say it sounds cool. I think it sounds cool. So we got our chord progression. So after we get our chord progression, what I like to do is go to the rhythm. So if that's our chord progression, then the rhythm section is the drums and the bass, right? Okay. So let's go ahead and record that chord progression that we have going on. Let's record it just a couple of times. Get our metronome. That'll work. I can do it that fast. I don't want to do it that fast, actually. That's about how fast I want it to be. rhythm up throughout. Once you get past, like, I basically just did a phrase with, like, that would be like an intro, and this would be like a, you know, a verse kind of thing. You want to change up your phrases so they don't all sound the same, because that's just a boring song. Going a little faster on purpose. Chord embellishment there. Let it breathe. Add a little bass note for the end. Wrong chord, but it kind of works. Finish off with your root note, you know. So that was pretty much basically, you know, the chord progression. You changed up the chord progression rhythm a couple times. You make some, basically the same chords throughout the whole song though, but I made it more interesting by changing up the rhythms that I did with the chords. Okay, so that was our chord progression. So that was our harmony. So now we're on to our rhythm.